Here today with Coach George Taylor of the Colmesneil Bulldogs. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
You are welcome. So let's talk about that last part, Colmesneil Bulldogs. You've just arrived there in Colmesneil. Tell us a little bit about the decision to move from West Armand to Colmesneil.
Well, Coleman Hill, when the job came open and I kind of looked at it, the first thing I looked at was the community. And when you drive through town, they have, home of the Bulldogs. It's on the light poles and, it's on the marquee out in front of the school. And it's a really good feel for the community and for the school district that they would be invested in athletics and they would support it. And so when I came in for the interview, it was absolutely verified. The admin team that interviewed me they're very supportive. They're very open. They just want their kids to be successful. They want their kids to learn, to be involved, and be successful at the end of the day. And so that was very attractive to me. Um, it moves us out of the situation that we were in as far as district wise over there to where I think the district that we're moving into, we have a chance of being very competitive, which is it's refreshing to, kind of scheme for the year coming up, knowing that you can be competitive with everyone on your schedule.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about that without going, but of course you won't have a game plan yet, without going into a whole lot of depth. Um, what might look a little different for the Bulldogs on the field under George Taylor?
Well, actually, Cody Day just recently left, and he and I are very similar offensively. So I think that as far, for the kids, it's a change in terminology, but I believe the overall scheme is going to remain pretty similar to what they've done before. So it's not like I'm coming in and taking a double wing team and teaching them how to throw a football. They proved last week. My first day on campus was last Tuesday. On Wednesday afternoon, I took them over to Coombs to play 7-on-7, and we put wristbands on. Wristbands told them what to do, and they ran routes, and we played very basic defense, but played phenomenal. I was, super proud of the effort. I was proud of the turnout, and we saw some success over there also. So, I think it kind of got those kids interested and a little more invested in, who's this new guy and what are we going to do. And I think that success is going to help kind of solidify what's going on here. So, on the field, what will we see that, different maybe than last year? I think we're going to be able to throw the ball more than we did last year. We have more of a vertical threat now, being able to stretch the field vertically. And then we have a running back on the backfield that's phenomenal. So, our run game is going to open up those vertical routes for us.
All right. Well, as best you can, kind of walk us through the district you're in there now in 12-282 and what you expect to see from those teams on the fall.
Well, they're all very familiar to me, and I just grabbed a cheat sheet. Of course, Deweyville, Evadale, Holdazetta, Sabine Pass. When I was at West Hardin, they were in our basketball district, in our baseball district. They were in track district. So very familiar with those schools, with the athletic directors, the kids that they have coming back and kind of what they expect. So that's going to be exciting. So, although I moved out of the area, I still get to be with those guys. I have a ton of respect for all those athletic directors, and we've all worked very well together. So that's exciting. The only one that's kind of an outlier that I'm not as familiar with would be Love Lady. And, Love Lady is a little more north. Now, when I first went to West Hardin, they were in our district at that time. They were a good ball club. And if I'm not mistaken, they're still as good as they were then, if not better. So just kind of, looking at the district, it's going to be competitive. And it's going to be fun going back and playing against friends.
All right. So, I interviewed you not that long ago, so I don't want to ask all the same questions. Uh, but if you can, kind of give us a perspective on the small school, going from one small school to another. And, previously I asked you what the biggest challenges are, but now let's talk a little bit about how do the perspectives or the changes that happen at the college level, they obviously have a huge impact on the bigger levels, but how does that flow down to the smaller schools?
Well, even when you talk about changes at the college level, let's look at rules. When the NCAA changes rules, those rules get passed down to small schools. And so, for instance, let's take something that dates me, the play clocks. When I was in school, when I first started coaching, high schools didn't have play clocks unless you were 5A or 6A. Well, then, it became a mandatory thing. So now you see, every stadium is equipped with play clocks. So rule changes at the college level, they filter down, and I don't think it affects us that much. We just kind of take it as we go. Now, something that I kind of see starting to creep into high school athletics that I don't think will affect 2A as much is you have states now that are allowing high school athletes to have NIL deals, which is going to affect the playing field. And then you even have our legislature this past session, there was, a bill wanting to allow kids to freely transfer schools for athletic purposes, even if it's just one thing. So, I think all that does is completely opens up the world of recruiting. Whereas in my mind, in Texas, we've always been special in the fact that you go to the school that you're zoned to where you live, and that's where you play ball. Good, bad, or ugly. If you're a Bulldog, you play for the Bulldogs. So I do see those changes starting to creep into high school sports, but I don't think that NIL deals are going to have as a big of effect on a smaller school as they will on the 5, 6A schools.
All right. So one last question. Try to make it a little different than last time. If you could try and learn a little bit about Coach Taylor. If you could have any superpower, what superpower would you pick and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one. If I could have any superpower, sometimes I wish I could be invisible. Not so much to spy on people, but to just not be there. If everybody knows that Coach Taylor's invisible, well, if I'm at home taking a nap, maybe they just think they can't see me. Being invisible would be cool, but the main reason I'd want to be invisible is because I'm a practical joker, and I would just mess with people all the time.
That would be a good power for that, for sure. Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck as wrap up the school year right now, and
Yes, sir.
head into the summer and into the 23 season.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
And for our viewers on YouTube, if you like this video, hit the like button. It really helps with the algorithm on YouTube and put this video in front of more people's eyes. If you like what we're doing with these interviews, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and you'll be notified every time we post a new video.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.